Good afternoon, the ones in the room and ones online, morning, afternoon, night, wherever you are in this world. I hope you are you are following us. So we are at the second session of sustainable facility management and maintenance from this afternoon. We are going to have 6 speakers, so we are going to start immediately with the first one. So we have presentations here in persons. We have also 2 videos, like presenters have recorded the videos, and also we'll have live presentations from the ones that are online. So without further ado, we start with the first presenter, and she comes from the Hong Kong Polytechnic University, from the Department of Building and Real Estate. Mayowa Adegoriada, I hope I say your name correctly.
Yes.
And yes, please.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and those online. Thank you for joining this presentation. My name is Mayowa Adegoriola. I'm at the final year of my PhD at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. So this is an extract of my research work. I am the presenting author, but I did this work with my supervisors, Esther Young, Edwin Chan, Joseph Lai, and myself. So I'll be discussing on the topic conceptualizing the identification of critical success factors for heritage building maintenance management. I guess this is not working. It's not working. Okay. So I am Mayowa. I'm here because I believe in knowledge sharing. So I just quickly run through my presentation outline, the introduction, the statement of the problem, the way forward, the literature review, research methodology, and discussion, conclusion and recommendation. It's not working. Okay. Yeah, just start with a quote. There may have been a time when preservation was about saving an old building here and there, but these days are gone. Preservation is in the business of saving communities and the values they embody. So that is to say, heritage building is just beyond a building. They have an impact on the community and the society and even the environment. So I would like to start with what is heritage building? This heritage, first of all, is our legacy from the past, what we live with today, and what we pass on to our future generation. So in that light, heritage buildings have been identified as structure that are inherited from ancient times, the past generation. They possess historical, aesthetic, architectural, and cultural significance. I would like to mention that I was quite fascinated walking around the street of Melbourne, especially the RMIT, how they have been able to, you know, integrate these heritage buildings into part of their system, and they are still well maintained and they're still being relevant till date. So why is it important to maintain heritage buildings? It reminds us of our past legacies. It helps in the reduction of impact of climate change, because when we conserve them, it helps to conserve embodied energy. It reduces the impact of pollution when we don't demolish them. Energy conservation, and then it also fosters social cohesion, which is an important part of sustainability as well. And then it's also is a source of revenue generation, because it serves as a form of tourist attraction, employment, and makes the city vibrant. So they are very important. So it is important to protect these buildings. Okay, thank you. So why is heritage building maintenance so important? They are important because in order to, we have been able to understand how important these heritage buildings are to the society at large, both in terms of environmental, social, and economic aspects. So it is therefore this makes their maintenance very, very, very pertinent in order to continue to preserve these buildings for future generation, and also to make them relevant, because we're in a changing society where there are different the demand of users for building is changing. We can't just make them static anymore. So in that light, their maintenance has become a spotlight. Even in the sustainable development goal, one of the sustainable development goal is, I think target 11 is to preserve our heritage buildings, the World Heritage Site. So therefore their maintenance is very, very important. So in that light, facility management has been increasingly applied to protect heritage building, just like other, we have the commercial buildings, the residential buildings, which the facility management has been introduced to improve maintenance and user satisfaction. In the same way, some authors have seen the relevance of facility management in heritage building maintenance management. Next slide, please. So, and some authors have been able to highlight the importance of facility management in heritage building maintenance. Like, it helps in preservation of cultural heritage. It helps in stakeholder coordination, because heritage building maintenance involves a lot of stakeholders. We have the community, the owners, the custodians. So facility management has been able to play this integratory role. And then it's also because facility management it's a user conscious form of management, so it also provides a human-centric administrative control. However, despite this awareness of heritage building maintenance and then preserving them, and then the application of facility management, it's still quite surprising that there's a wide gap between the current practices and the and the best practices. And also, then even in literature, there's like a depth of knowledge on studies of heritage buildings and their important and the application of facility management and ways to improve facility management in heritage building maintenance management. Next slide, please. So what is the way forward? For any form of maintenance or management, it is very vital to ensure that performance evaluation, progress evaluation is being measured. So performance evaluation of facility management have been measured in other kind of property types of classes of property, like the residential, commercial, and other. But in for heritage building, it remains wanting. There haven't been any study, focusing on performance measurement, how to improve facility management in heritage building from the aspect of performance measurement. Performance measurement is a very vital aspect of heritage building management. Also, the inadequacy to determine the performance and critical success factor is one way of determining performance measurement. So the inadequacy to determine the appropriate critical success factor and performance indicators invalidate the essence of performance measurement system. You cannot have an accurate performance measurement system without indicators, without KPIs, without critical success factors. So it is very important, considering the specificity of heritage buildings and the uniqueness of FM and the integration of those two unique areas. It is important to identify these critical success factors that may help facility managers in achieving best practices. Next slide, please. So this work is basically based on literature review. So the literature review, the relevant keywords search, such as facility management, heritage building, performance evaluation was searched. And initially we had 83 papers. After further scrutiny, we settled for 31 papers, and out of these 31 papers, we were able to identify like 24 critical success factors that could be relevant to FM practices in heritage building maintenance management. Also, through the literature review process, we're able to identify performance measurement models that could be used, that could be integrated to help in identifying the relevant critical success factors. So we found two relevant. We have the European Foundation for Quality Management and the Balance Scorecard. So this work now integrated the performance measurement models, that's the EFQM and the Balance Scorecard, and then was able to integrate it with FM concept to develop like a guideline to help in identifying critical success factors. Next slide, please. From the literature review, we were able to understand that performance measurement is needed to enhance facility performance to satisfy users' requirements optimally and in overall resource allocation. It also helps organization to identify strategies for improvement. It also helps to know areas of weaknesses and areas to improve on, and it has been studies have been conducted in identifying performance management in various contexts, such as the financial, cost flexibility, safety, staff development, team flexibility, and cash flow. However, despite the benefit of performance measurements, studies have shown that there's a lack of proper identification of critical performance indicators to conduct practical performance assessment, because what cannot be measured cannot be managed. So it is important to ensure that these critical success factors that are used for performance measurement are, 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 are identified correctly so that we can get the right measurement. So that's what then at the end of this study conceptualizes the identification of critical success factor from the FM operations in HBMM by integrating FM concept and performance measurement models. Next slide, please. So, like I said, performance measurement is not a static, it's not a one size fit all approach. Organizations can, find a way that it will suit their needs, just like heritage buildings, because it's different from other categories. We can't just use the critical success factors for managing residential properties to measure the performance of heritage buildings. So we are going to. That's why it is important to coin the one that will suit the management of heritage buildings. So the EFQM is a self-assessment tool that provides an organization the platform to evaluate its performance measurements in a targeted excellence position. It comprises of 9 criteria, which is 5 enablers and 4 results. So the enablers are the leadership, people, strategy, and processes, while the results are the customer, the people, the society, and business. And this kind of fits into heritage building maintenance, because we have heritage building is a people oriented kind of building stakeholders. Then and the impact of the society also should be considered in its management. And then we have some heritage building that serves as cultural tourists that are used for some economic purposes. So the business aspect and the customer aspect should also be considered. So the AFQM can be applied in HBMM to meet the heritage building stakeholders requirement by focusing on the enablers to achieve the desired result. Next slide, please. Okay. So quickly, let me just go to the the next slide. Okay, so the BSc perspective have like four criterias. We have the financial aspect, the internal business aspect, the learning and growth, and the user perspective. So regarding to heritage building, so when we are identifying the critical success factors, it should be able to support the core and non-functions of the heritage buildings. Then if to achieve the internal business perspective, it should be able to align with organizational vision, mission, and also the learning and growth relate to identifying the critical success factors to improve FM operations, such as training, performance evaluation, and identifying improvement strategies. Then the FM perspective as well, and the EFQM perspective is to focus on the results. Then the self-assessment, organization can assess their performance by themselves and rate it, and then there's a room for feedback. Next slide, please. So this is a conceptual framework that I was able to come up with from the findings to help us in identifying relevant critical success factor for heritage building. This is generic, so it can be adapted to suit the specific needs of the heritage building and the expectations of the users. As we know, FM planning is on strategic, tactical, and operational level. So while identifying the critical success factor, we should consider those ones that will help us achieve the strategic goals, the tactical goals, the operational goals. It should also align with the organizational mission objective. That's the vision and mission of the FM organization in question. Then because of heritage building, stakeholders participation and consideration is very important. So It should align with stakeholders' requirements. Probably is it for social, cultural, is it for religious reasons, for historical reasons, whatever it is. Then the four aspects of the balanced scorecard should be the critical success factor should also look at ways in achieving the financial perspective, the user perspective, the learning and growth, and the internal business perspective. So when they have been able to look at this, then you identify the critical success factors for FM operation in HBMM, and then the organization can assess it because the EFQM is a self-assessment tool where organizations can able to assess it. So the FM staff and the heritage building users can assess the level of performance of the building and how then the feedback can be, then they send the feedback back and then the cycle evolves. So this figure is actually the conceptual framework that was developed by integrating the BSc model, the FM managerial fundamentals, in order to ensure that critical success factors are able to actually help in achieving the effective performance measurement. Next slide. So in conclusion, performance measurement are vital to improving heritage building maintenance practices, and a well-defined critical success factor is essential in performance measurement system, else it won't achieve its objective. So in this process, we had 24 critical success factors that we got from existing literature. So this study contributes theoretically to the theoretical contribution of this framework are that the allied relationship of key concepts to be considered in identifying critical success factors for FM operations in heritage building management. So further studies could be taken further to shortlist these important indicators that may be useful for real-life scenarios in the maintenance of heritage building performance management. Next slide. So these are just the run-through of the critical success factors that were identified from literature. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation. Do we have any questions from online or from here? We are also running a bit late on time, so we'll hold if we have any questions, I will ask you to redirect to you and to your paper. So we are going to have now the next presentation. 1 second. I have until we have the technical back, because you talked about the framework in Europe and this one. How is this applied in Hong Kong? Have you looked at is there any framework that you have there, or you're using the European international, let's say, because it is an international one.
Framework is not specific to Hong Kong. So it can be adopted to suit whatever country. That's why it's a generic.
Yeah, but have you seen this applied in Hong Kong, or have you looked at the use cases? Or
in Hong Kong? Well,
it's in the future.
In the future, the framework is just not been like a further study will forward to ask the practitioner.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great, thank you. We are going for, so now we move from Hong Kong to Norway. We move online with a video presenting one findings. Some findings in the paper. It's called Sustainability Accounting Standard for Existing Houses, and Christian Fredrik Madsen from the company where my colleagues from NTNU and me we worked with to develop this tool that he will present. He's not online, no. You don't have the video? We uploaded the video, and I could see the video on the presentations. 1 for 2. If not, we can move to the next one, and then I have the video also on my computer, so we can. Okay. So let's move to the next one. Let's move to the next one that we have here in the room. It's okay. And meanwhile, we organize for the presentation. So our next speaker will present a paper called "A Security-Minded Approach to BIM Maturity: A Multidisciplinary Review." And Nick Dot, please have the floor and tell us about your research.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, if this works, it's fine. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Nikki Gadiminia. I'm a lecturer at University of East London for construction engineering management. So today, my presentation is a bit different to the presentation you've seen so far. I'm not going to go through the research process for this one because of the novel approach, novel thinking behind this research, which is just a baseline for future research, basically. So what we are going through today is to, during 10 minutes of time, introduce a new concept which deserves more attention. So we're looking at a security-minded approach to BIM maturity. And if I can have the first slide. So me and my colleague, Dr. Salman Saidlu, have thought about the security of BIM-enabled facilities management for a while. So when we talk about digital solutions and digitalization within the construction industry, we usually think that this is the approach to a more secure, more safe construction or facilities management. But in fact, maybe BIM can open a new can of worms for the security issues. So today I'm going to go through the BIM and security, and by security I mean cyber security, and if there is a concern, which I would say yes, and who is responsible for it, and the role of facilities managers in minimizing the cyber risks. Can I have the next slide? So if any of you have heard of BIM before, you've definitely heard of this phrase, BIM is a golden thread of information. And by that, we should also bear in mind that this golden thread of information is also gold for the hackers who have malicious intents of any terror activities, any theft, any unauthorized access to a building, any malicious intent that needs information of a building or a physical asset. Next slide, please. So basically looking at why we implement BIM within the facilities management. The main reason is the availability of accurate information, which is easily accessible at the right time. But what we forget usually is that this information needs to be accessed by the right people as well. So these are the benefits associated with the implementation of BIM in FM. And for this reason, facilities managers are trying their best to implement and adopt BIM-enabled ways of working. Next slide, please. To get a mature implementation of BIM in FM, facilities managers are also facing lots and lots of challenges and shortfalls. looking at some of these challenges, first one being the availability of data. So we all know that BIM is quite a new concept for the facilities managers around the world. And so the engagement of FM within the projects from the very first stages of the project is limited, minimal, or non-existent. And so the way information is structured is not suitable for FM activities tasks later on. So it would be optimum if facilities management is involved in projects early on to avoid further issues. This would in turn lead to the unavailability of right data for specific tasks. Second challenge would be the organizational BIM readiness. So with BIM and with facilities managers, they are usually reluctant to new technologies, new ways of working because of that lack of financial and investment capability. And also, they're not technical people, they are facilities managers who are not really willing to change the way they've been working for the past, God knows how long. So this is the skepticism and reluctance towards the adoption of BIM that is creating some issues for the security of information. So they don't have solid measures for secure processes and secure measures. And the third challenge is, of course, knowledge and skills. I'm not saying facilities managers don't have enough knowledge or skill. They are very skillful in what they've been doing so far, but with new stuff that has been introduced to FM in the past decade, let's say, they don't have the digital proficiency to securely work in BIM or within digital platforms. And that is another issue which causes cyber intrusion resulting from human error. And we all know human error is the main cause behind the cybersecurity threats. The fourth challenge is standardization and compliance. So one of the things with BIM is that we keep developing new standards, new guidelines, and that is making compliance more difficult for FM and for other stakeholders involved. So basically, this will create inconsistent ways of working for all stakeholders and specifically facilities management organizations who are constantly working with other people, other organizations or contractors. So this inconsistency will create a compromise of data security measures as well along the way, because one company is doing something for security, the other one is doing another thing. And the fifth one will be the interoperability and incompatibility, which is kind of related to the fourth one. But with this one, we're looking at limitations associated with standardized libraries at the use phase of the project, discrepancies in organizational data handling processes, which is kind of related to the fourth challenge. And this is also resulting in information loss from the poor handling and management of digital information. And the last one is formal documentations and contract, which is kind of related to compliance with best practice guidelines and standards. Obviously, there are security best practice guidelines and standards in place. However, none of them really advise what needs to be in the contract in particular. So there are lots of different statements, many of them very generic, and this needs to be this needs furthermore attention and development to basically stop oversharing of data within the in-use phase of the project. So all of these challenges and their outcome leads to an increase in heightened risk of cybersecurity within the in-use phase of the project and when the FM is involved. So if I can have the next slide. So basically, just quickly go through this one. It might be confusing because we're looking at cybersecurity and BIM at the same time and then within the domain of facilities management. In this research, we looked at BIM-enabled FM. Within that, we looked at benefits of BIM in FM, availability of information at the right time. We also looked at challenges of BIM in FM, and then the other domain we focused on was cybersecurity. With the cybersecurity, we looked at cybersecurity threats in organizations, and then that fed into the challenges of BIM in FM. The relationship between the two domains led us to the outcome, which is people, process, technology-related vulnerabilities and cybersecurity risk to the built environment. So if we understand that the cybersecurity risk is related to people and process as well as technology, then we can work on people's skills and competencies to overcome this issue. So looking at these, we have cybersecurity risk for the BIM-enabled facilities management. And then we have the three main pillars of cybersecurity in any organization, which is the availability, accuracy, and confidentiality of information. So you can already see the harmony between the benefits of BIM in FM and the main pillars of cybersecurity. So basically, they're pointing out to the availability of information, integrity of information. And if the cybersecurity is compromised, then we have the BIM benefits compromised in another way. Next slide, please. Just go to next slide, it's fine. So can FM tackle cybersecurity risks? So the short answer to this is to a degree, and it depends where we're talking. In the UK, I would say no, because cybersecurity risk is not even identified, is not even noticed. It is usually left to the security specialists or the IT teams involved. Capabilities and competencies required for a cybersecure FM does not exist. So practically, the facilities management professionals do not believe they need any certain knowledge of cybersecurity. They just think they need to do their work as they were used to it. And who bears the responsibility of cybersecurity in a BIM-enabled facilities management organization? We don't know. Nobody knows. We've carried out many interviews, many surveys. It's a very mixed message, and it depends on the project, the nature of the project, and what it involves. So basically, if we can tackle these issues, then we're in a good place in terms of security of the physical assets we have. Next slide, please. Yeah, so looking at cybersecurity, breach compromises BIM benefits in FM, like availability, confidentiality, integrity of information that we have in BIM. BIM maturity models are practically developed to enable us to achieve BIM benefits. So we looked at BIM maturity models to see what they offer in terms of cybersecurity. What we identified is that there are certain competencies identified within some maturity models, but they do not specifically point out to the people process aspects of cybersecurity. They're just more focused on the structure of data, layering of data, which is more of a technical issue rather than the people and process aspects of cybersecurity. And so we moved on to the other domain we were focusing on, which was cybersecurity in organizations. And we identified the competencies that could be applied to facilities management organizations as well. Next slide, please. So yeah, we have this, let's say, model framework. It's just a sphere of thought because this can't be applied to any facilities management organizations yet. However, it sets the base for future endeavors, future research for both researchers or regulators who are involved in developing the BIM maturity models, or for the facilities managers who would like to consider any of these competencies and to invest in them. The point of this is to showcase that facilities management needs that competency to basically have the BIM proficiencies, BIM capabilities, and then cybersecurity competencies as well. The fact that currently the cybersecurity competencies are just for the security specialists and IT specialists, and the BIM proficiencies are left with the facilities managers, creates a gap that is basically the point where the hackers or the intruders hack the system or get the information and maliciously either have unauthorized access to a building, terrorist activities, or anything that you can think of. So basically I hope this presentation triggers some thought in other areas such as design, construction, and of course with facilities management that we're focusing on, we have the largest volume of data being handled, managed, and exchanged between various stakeholders, contractors, subcontractors. So it's crucial at this stage where residents, business is present within the physical asset that we take this into consideration. So thank you very much for your attention. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Yes.
When it comes to cybersecurity, oh yes, thank you. So when it comes to cybersecurity, isn't it really about the software and the programming of the software to make sure that there's some type of intellectual security embedded into the system?
I really hope not. Well, we have lots and lots of software firewall in place, right? But we still have information getting lost in the way or hacked. How many firewalls do we have? How many security systems do we have in place? We still get hacks. So it's important to take into account the human error, the social aspects and process aspects. If that can be resolved, I think the technical side can also help with everything else. Of course, it's crucial to have technical solutions in place as well, but if we can get the people and process aspects right, then the technology can shine bright.
Thank you.
Yes. Of course.
Thank you very much. According to the ISO 19650, construction manager or facility manager is not in charge for running of BIM. We need a BIM champion or we need a BIM manager. So the construction managers during the construction and facility managers during the operation of the project is just only using the information. Some part of the ISO 19650, especially the version B, is just focusing on the cyber security. So maybe you just consider that one and just see the role of the, the manager or the champion for the BIM. And there are two things here. Usually we are not put the BIM in the internet. We are using the intranet, which not open to the public. So it's not possible somebody hack that one. It's just only among the stakeholders they want to use that one. The second things we just try to use that one is a blockchain. So blockchain is just not hackable and something like that. So maybe you consider in your research, because I know this is ongoing research.
I have considered both. Obviously, I couldn't grasp your question here. I think it was just more informative. So basically, ISO 19650 has some security clauses, and I understand that there's a BIM champion advised. However, how many facilities management organizations can actually invest in a BIM champion or a BIM manager? Usually within small and medium facilities management organizations, which is a lot of them right now, they can't afford that. So they have one team member looking after BIM. And we have the connection between BMS systems, facilities management systems, and BIM, which those connections are also connected to sensors in the building. If you have a sensor hacked, then there is the possibility of the FM system to be hacked and of the BIM information to be hacked. So it's not that it's connected to the internet, because in today's world, we have at least one sensor in every building, and that is connected to BMS systems, facilities management systems, and in turn, the whole internal system within organizations, and hence why we are considering cybersecurity in BIM.
Yeah. Yeah, they hack the whole organization.
Definitely, yeah. We had a case actually for a blockchain hack. So
yeah,
there you go.
Good. One more question and then we move.
Yes, Chris Hayward. I think just picking up Alareza's comment was that albeit, yes, you could be with an intranet, but one of the things you find in the facility management world is the use of outsourcing contracts. So it may well be more than likely that the data is actually held with the external provider, and that's another question of who owns the data, but that's outside this. So that, I think, inherently puts vulnerabilities into it, regardless of the comment we just made about hacking blockchain and in intranets. So I think, yeah, there's some inherent structural issues in how FM can actually work that actually create. problems in it. Yeah.
On the cybersecurity, we go to security itself, and then it has different avenues and different legs from where the data is to cybersecurity to so on and so on.
That is one of the reasons that cybersecurity within the EU space is very critical, because of all those other stakeholders involved, subcontracting, you know, other industries who are involved in the process. So yeah, it's good to just trigger that thought of having cybersecurity, because there's a statement that we are not a bank, so we don't need cybersecurity. But actually, any building can be subject to, you know, malicious intents that God knows what.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Very nice discussion here. So I don't see anything in the chat from the online, so we'll just move to the next to the video. We'll move to the video about sustainability accounting standards for increasing sustainability refurbishment projects. We don't have sound. The beautiful life of hybrid. It took some time for us to move from face to face to online, so we had some challenges, and now we move to the next challenge, that is the challenge of hybrid. Shall we take another?
Thank you very much for having me at the World Building Congress. My name is Christian Falk. I work for MBBL, and today I will show you the accounting system, the sustainable accounting standard that we have created. Why do we need a standard for existing homes? Well, most of the buildings that is built will be there in decades to come. In Norway, we have a very special model where 80% own their own homes and only 20% rents them. This gives homeowners a great responsibility, but it also means that the facility management companies need to be on the same page as their owners, right? Because we need them on the side when we need to do investments to get these old buildings to be renovated into sustainable buildings. Now, the reason why I'm showing you these pictures in the beginning is that this company, they invested 400 million kroner, that's 40 million euros, to get this green transaction of their property. That's a great investment for these people who live there. But what we now see that they increase the electricity cost by 70%. They increase the property price between 10 and sometimes more than 20%. And they got value because it's much nicer. So just to own the homes there now it's much nicer than it was before. So turning a property from a place where people didn't want to live into a great property where people want to live and buy their home. But we also have an external factor. We have Ursula von der Leyen, who comes with the green transaction, the European taxonomy. And we have to listen to that, because not also is it important, but the Norwegian government decided in December 2021 that they would take in the European taxonomy and make it their own. What does that mean for us who run facility management on existing houses? Well, the taxonomy says that when you're going to invest on properties, you have to have a 30% energy reduction to get a green loan. And we need more homes to be in the green portfolio. We now know today that there will be a little bit decrease in loan cost if you're green. But we believe that in the future, states will make it much more expensive to be in the grey portfolio, because it's not sound business, it's not sustainable, and we need to get out of the track that we're in. So why does MBBL focus on this? We run facility management on almost 23% of all private homes in Norway. We know that 90% of the board members in our cooperative housing companies, they come to our members and ask for guidance when it comes to renovations. But we also know that 95% of these renovations is either decreased in size, complexity, or even stopped because of the costs. The homeowners do not see the value and they stop those renovations. And this has been going on for years. So we decided we need to do something with it. We need to create our own sustainability standard that will make more transitions from grey to green buildings. So we created our own strategy that looks at who. An instant model that shows you how with a roadmap, and then reports, and in the at the ground floor, sustainability accounting standard with KPIs that would make it all possible. Well, we needed to have a great project with people who helped us. So we worked closely with academia, we worked closer with our project partners and the project. And that's where we had global players helping us with the project and the insight. And we also created a whole value chain of partners that was involved in the project and telling us what to do. Everything from suppliers, facility management companies, government agents, banks, insurance companies that could show us different sides of what we needed to focus on. And we looked at what was there from before, the different standards that we could learn from. And we managed to get 23 sustainability themes from these standards, 6 global standards and lots of documentation that we looked at. And when we went with these issues and we asked our key audience, what's important for you? What do you think that we need to focus on? And we went out to 50,000 people and 10% chose to participate. That means that we had 5,000 people actively participating, giving us answers at what we needed to focus on. And this is the results. This is what they told us that we really, really needed to focus on when we created our own standard, so that that would be a tool that would engage them. But you can't have a system like this without a strategy. And instead of creating everything from ourselves, we interlinked this standard with existing standards, Norwegian standards for how to run facility management on your own. That means that we can also use existing knowledge and existing people who actually know what to do and link in with them. And when we looked at how to involve, we decided we need to know what are their ambitions. What do they think is the existing standard, the conditions of their home today, so we could create gaps. And with those gaps, we could start to say, this is what we need to do in order to reach your goals. And by putting this into a frame, call it rules, call it regulations, call it guidelines, we were able to create the ground floor for our standard. Now, I really need to stop here and take a moment to say thank you, Alenka at NTNU, and thank you, Svein from SAR Consulting. We could not have created these KPIs without you. It was a fantastic summer with lots of work, but we now have 21 KPIs. Underneath the KPIs, we have almost 80 indicators, and all of the indicators is connected to what we call an accounting stream. That's where we have all of the information tagged. It's like an account in a budget. And by putting an ambition profile and a condition profile on each of the indicators, we get a gap on each of the indicators that we then can use to show you what does that mean for you. And by putting the numbers into text, translating something that they don't understand to something that they could read and understand, we created a tool that we could use for people who do not have any facility management background. And by having a model data and decision flow throughout the system, and by having delivery process and strategy focus on different parts of the system, we were able to create an in-step model that showed us the way. And with the different reports that we had, we were able to guide different project groups through the roadmap so that we could create the reports that we needed to show them what they need, what they want. And these reports are now standardized, so you could look at the answers from a KPI perspective. You could look at it from an indicator underneath the KPI, triple bottom line, the SDG. You could even drill down and look at what different residents said, not on a personal level, but on an aggregated number. And by putting all of these into a very simple system that we can scale it, because we need to do this 16,000 times, and that's why we needed to run through a proof of concept phase. And we've done that in several phases. And the reason for that is that we needed to know, will this work? Will people want to be part of this? Will it really give us the insight that we need? And we have now run a POC on 18 companies, 2,000 homeowners, more or less 100 board members in these 18 boards. And what we see that 90% of the board members are really engaged. We see that 50% of homeowners want to take part in the questionnaires, which is great numbers. And that shows us that there are lots of people who want to be green, but they need tools to help them with the transaction. They need to know what's in it for me, and they need somebody to show them the way. And we have this massive task. How do we get this green loan certification? And the great news that I can tell you today is that we've already managed to do this with Kokelven up in Tromsø. Look at the great view they have. A great cooperative housing company in Tromsø that did a renovation. They can prove 40% energy reduction, and the bank has given them a stamp of approval for a green loan. This is probably the first green housing project, renovation project in the world, and we are really, really proud to say that that's within our portfolio, and we couldn't have done it without the standard. That's good for business, because now we can tell you with hot sauna, you can save this amount of money on your loan, this amount of money on reducing your energy costs. And the same thing in Kokelven as in the first project in the beginning. They see a property value increased by between 10 and 20%, which means it's also very good business for the people who own those homes, right? So what we see is that the increase in the value actually exceeds the investment in the renovations, which is great. And with this in mind, we now have almost 1,000 companies that will take part in rolling out this standard to show them the way within our own members. We have 41 members, and several of those people are now trying to scale up this standard to make it something that could create value. I hope this was valuable for you. I hope you got a good explanation of what the standard is. I wish you a great day. Thank you very much for your time, and take care. Cheers.
Thank you. So this is one of the projects where in the university we work with the companies. So we have a lot of this kind of projects, and then they take later the results into their business. So sometimes they come to us, sometimes we go to them. So it depends on, this is the way we are doing in Norway and probably also in other universities in this field. So you've seen a presentation from the business side, let's say, how good the collaboration with the research was. So now we move here in the room to our next presenter that will tell us something about, let me have some light, the impact of Industry 4.0. So without further ado, I'll give you the microphone. And yes.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody from the Melbourne. I'm not sure for your time zone. It's working. Sometimes. Facility management. Okay, again, I'm Ali Reza Moghaydi, Senior Research Officer from University of the Cape Town. On behalf of my colleague in this research, I presenting the impact of Industry 4.0 in energy of the building. So in the commercial property, we have several challenges, and the facility manager or the residents, they just have some challenges. The first challenge, I think the pointer is the first challenge. Okay, the first challenge is just a high energy consumption in the commercial property. In the South Africa, 18% of the electricity generated is just used in the commercial property. This amount of energy is not used because of the real need of the property, because high wastage and not efficiently using the energy. The next one, please. So the next challenges is just a high energy wastage. The next one, please. The other challenge is about the increased electricity tariff. In the past 3 years, the energy accumulatedly increase in the South Africa 22%, which is just a very big push, or is very big cost for the facility management in the South Africa. And lastly, the next slide, please, the dirty energy. So 92% of the energy in the South Africa is generated by the fossil fuel. So you just see how much CO2 we just added to the environment is just very high. The other things, we have a energy crisis in the South Africa currently. So since from last night, the energies go up and down. We have a stage for the load shedding. Now we are in the stage 6. It means 6 times a day. We just have a load shedding, and each load shedding is around 2 hours. So means half a day we don't have a load shedding. So you just see the challenges we are dealing in the commercial property. Next slide, please. So the research question we just try to answer in this particular paper is how would the Industry 4.0 technology reduce energy consumption in the South African commercial property sector? Next one, please. The methodology we use here, so you can just press your, because it's just coming. So we use the mixed method, qualitative, quantitative. So we just selected the green rated star building in the South Africa. We are just go through the study of the rating tools, how they just achieve those green rated, because the green rated has a different assessment area, like a water, like a social, like the other things, but we are focusing on the energy, and we just be sure that case study we just selecting is just get the highest green rated because of the energy, not because of the other criteria. The next one, please. So we are just allocating in the energy as I just explained it, and then we just selected some of the case study. Next one, please. So we just look at the innovative initiative also used in this facility management. So we just able to select the 3 most cases, which is just aligned with the objective of this research. Next one, and next one, please. So we have a 3. So these are the very general overview of the 3 case study. We just do that one. The case 1 is a 6-star rating commercial property constructed in 2011, and that was the first green rated 6-star green rated commercial property in the South Africa. The floor area was 18,000 square meter, has some sort of like innovative technology implemented in this case study, like a smart meter, light occupancy sensor, BMS, automated shading system, and so on. The second case is a 5-star rated green building constructed in 2014, total 52 square meter, and they have some of the innovative technology. And the last case is a 6-star rated, constructed in 2006, total 52,970 square meter. Next slide, please. So based on the SANS 204 national standard in the South Africa, the commercial property is just recommended to use 185 kilowatt hour electricity per square meter. So I just gave you that one to have a benchmark, what is the standard in South Africa and how we are just using the that one. Next one, please. So this is just a summary of the case 1, and after analyzing of the data, we just see the case 1 is able to just save the 23.59% through the energy using this kind of the technology they have. Case 2 saving 19.34%, and the case 3 saves 16.81% electricity using or adopting this innovative technology, or the technology 4.0. Next one, please. I think the pointer likes you, not anybody else. So energy saving criteria elements. Next one, please. The things we found it based on the analysis of the study, the age of the building, and also the latest technology has a correlation with the higher energy saving. It means if the building is just constructed recently or using more recent technology, the level of the efficiency for that specific building or for the specific technology is higher than the previous one. The next one, please. The other one, number of the technology has a correlation with the level of the energy saving. So it means if you're using the more energy, more technology, it's able to just reduce the more saving, which is obvious. The next one, the interesting things we found it, the green rated star doesn't have any correlation to the level of the energy saving. So as one of the case study is a 6-star, has a less energy efficient compared to the 5-star, because as I say at the beginning of the presentation, green rated star is just the combination of the different tools with the different focus. So it's not only about the energy. Maybe it's just achieved the 6-star because focusing more on the water, or maybe on the facility, or maybe the community. So that's the things is just happening. Environment goal and strategy of the business or the that specific company is just has a correlation with the more install innovative technology. When we just interview with the facility manager, we just identify if the that business has some sort of a strategy on the reducing energy and just go to the environments. Sustainability, they are just more happy, or they're just more rely on adopting this technology. And the high cost of the technology is the main challenge or the barrier for adopting the advanced innovative technology in the construction, in the commercial property in the South Africa. Next one, please. So this is just a summary of the quantitative analysis. We just did that one here. This is some sort of like a big study. So I just escape all the qualitative summarizing the previous study. Now just go to the quantitative. Energy saving attributed to the green initiative versus the solar generation. So as you see here, 21% saving, we have it for the case one. 1.66% is just coming from the solar system, and 23.59% is just, 21% coming from the green initiative, and 1.66% is coming from the solar system. Because of the limited roof space for these three cases, as you see here, there is a very limited, and also the case two, there is no solar system or the renewable energy generation in the second case. But as I say, the limit or the challenge was the limited space when they're just using the air conditioning, central air conditioning. There is a very limited place for the solar system. Next slide, please. So here, the standard, when we just convert the standard energy recommended by the South Africa standard for each square meter of the commercial building, it will be converted to the 200 kilogram CO2 per square meter. By analysis of that one and comparison of this, so you just see the case one is able to just reduce 59 kilogram CO2 per square meter. Case two is just able to just save 39 kg, and the case three is just able to reduce the 44 kilogram of the CO2, combination of the both green initiative or the technology and also the solar system, which is around 30% if we just get the average of the three cases. Next slide, please. So as a founding, when we just look at the triple bottom line or the three pillar of the sustainability, by adopting of the technology 4.0, we are able to reduce the operation costs, offsite electricity tariff increase. So we just try to adjust that one and dampen the effect of the load shedding, which is just very serious now in the South Africa and heavily damage the business. Next one, please. So by adopting this technology, we can increase the employee productivity and employees practice sustainability habit at home. So the employee usually they just learn and they just consider about the environment and they just do the same practice at home or the other places. And lastly, regarding of the plants, yes, please. reduce the building carbon. We are able to reduce the building carbon footprint and improve the ESG and the carbon footprint reporting, or the that kind of the footing of the business for the national, because South Africa recently accept the tax carbon. And if the company, they are not able to reduce the carbon, they need to pay heavy tax because of the carbon emission. And lastly, conclusion recommendation. So by adopting of the, you can just press, by adopting of the Industry 4.0 technology, it's just very easy to just move from the energy and efficient building to the energy efficient building. Next one. So by this kind of the accepting a green rated star or the innovative technology, we are able to averagely reduce energy up to 20% and 30% CO2 emission from buildings. So this is just some sort of like a conclusion that we are just trying to show to the other commercial property facility manager that green building is just working, because there is some sort of rumor or there is a doubt that green building is not working because of the high cost of the certificate and the process and the other things. So we just try to prove still the green building rating is worth it. Thank you very much.
Very much. I don't know. We don't have any questions here. I don't know if we have any questions in. Oh yeah, you have one question. So then you have time. Yeah. And he has one more presentation also. So.
Oh, I won't take up too much time. Okay. Ali Reza, I think the thing I didn't quite pick up was where the technology 4.0 was present in what was going on. Was that embedded in the Green Star system? Okay. So. Okay, yeah, thank you for that. I think you actually partially answered another question I had, was how the Green Star system worked there relative to what I understand working in Australia. It sounds like they're very similar in terms of the mechanism. But yeah, you'd focused in on the energy piece and the technologies in the energy, and that was the connection I was looking for. Thank you. Right, okay. No, thank you. That's great. That's clarified it.
Sorry for that. Sorry for that. I think I'm loud enough to.
Yes. Do we have any other questions? Somebody's typing on the chat. Okay, that the mic. Okay, so shall we go to your next presentation, or you have also a use case? So the presentation is called an investigation of the impact of green methods and technologies on the environmental sustainability of supportive educational buildings, use case on the Cape Town University. So let's hear this and have a short 1 or 2 questions, and then we have one more presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, this is part of the digital twin. We just try to develop it in the UCT And as a one side of that one, we just try to look at not only safety and security that I just earlier in the previous session discussed that one. So in the other session, in the other presentation, we just try to look at the impact of the green method and the technology on the environment sustainability of the supportive education building. What I mean by the supportive education building means some sort of like a building that directly we are not using for the education, like for example, students accommodation, dorm, and something like that. So it's not means offices or the lecture theaters. So we just try to do that one. So next slide, please. So as I just mentioned in the previous slide, the water and energy price in the South Africa is keep increasing because of the water and energy crisis we have in the South Africa. In 2017, we are just go to the day zero in the Cape Town. I'm sure everybody heard about that one. So we count down to the day we don't have any water anymore. Recently, we just have some sort of like a good water, and we forgot about the day zero, but we are still in the area of the water problem. The second one, as I just mentioned about the load shedding, we have a serious problem with the energy. So that's very important for us to just look at how we can just reduce the consumption from the water and the energy and go to the more efficient building. One of the things, next one, please. One of the initiative we can just do that one using of the green method and the technology, as I just explained it before. But there is next one, please. But there is a limited practice and the research in the South Africa, especially in the supportive educational building. We have some sort of like a very limited research we done on the commercial or residential, but based on my knowledge, this is the first one we just try to look at in the supportive educational building in the South Africa. Next one, please. So the research question we just try to answer by this paper is what is the impact of the green method and the technology on the water and energy consumption in the supportive educational building, and whether this green method and the technology can improve the environment sustainability of this building. Next one, please. So a very quick about the literature review and the things we are just found it over the research. About the sustainability. So the new age of the university make a noticeable contribute to the sustainability and the purpose of the global impact challenges through two ways. Majority is through the either research or education. But the things the UN and the other community or the other government, they just try to suggest that go to the learning of the sustainability. So learning sustainability is just a culture. We just try to teach to the staff and the students how to just apply the sustainability, and can be through two ways. The first one is integrating of the knowledge of the sustainability into the students' curriculum, not only through the education, but through the curriculum. We just try to do that one. And the second one is adoption of the sustainability within the university. So if the students, they just use some sort of technology or the method to just improve the sustainability, they will get the culture, as I just explained in the previous presentation, so they can just use it in their home or their businesses. Next slide, please. So the methodology we use in this study is just also a mixed method. So I'm just very briefly explain the qualitative and shortly just summarize the quantitative. So for the qualitative, we did the semi-structured interview. Then we just do the systematic observation. For the qualitative, we just go to look at the water and energy usage of one of the latest students' dorm we just constructed in the UCT recently. For the analyzing of the systematic literature, semi-structured interview, we use the thematic analysis. I think I'm correct. Thematic data analysis, and for the systematic observation, we use the checklist based on the GBCSA and the other assessments. We just create that kind of the checklist, and we just get the national standard and just compare it to use of this building. And we just come out with the latest, as I say, single case study, and this is already green rated. So the coverage of that one is 10,500 square meter. A student's residence is just constructed few years ago and has a 4 green rated star for the residential area. Next, please. So the founding, we found it from the thematical analysis regarding the current strategy plan and the behavior. On 2012, the UCT already developed a sustainability strategy. And one of that strategy is just every building constructed from the 2012 should be complied with the GBCSA and achieve at least a 4-star green rated. One of the new building we just tried to construct in the UCT recently and open by the next month is just get the 6-star rating for the lecture theater and the classes. But the main things when we just interview with the executive management is the aim is not only just regarding of the sustainable building design, but as well as the staff and students' culture. So this UCT is working on the staff and students' culture behavior, and I just explained the next slide. So as I mentioned in the 2017, I think the next one, so we have day zero only by doing the water and energy camping. We are able to just reduce 35% and 20% on the water and energy saving. So you just prove to us working with the community and improve the culture of the staff and students is just able to just reduce a lot of water and energy consumption because of the wastage, as I just discussed that one. Next one, please. So we found some barrier based on the thematic literature. Thematic analysis. So the first and the most barrier or the challenges is a significant cost of this technology because of the budget we have it in the university is tight and it's just limited. Even UCT has that kind of the sustainable strategy. So there is a very fine line between the business plan and the strategy. So they need to just decide and just cut that one in the some point. The other one is the financial limitation, and the one of the most challenging, we have it working closely with the property and services, is a heritage building. Majority of the building in the UCT is a heritage building, so we cannot do the major retrofitting or renovation. So we have a lot of building more than 70 years old, so consider as a heritage, we cannot just do that one. It's very difficult to just go and install some sort of like technology on that one. Next one, please. For utilizing green method and the technology, those technology we just adopted in this specific case. Next one, please. So we just implemented different technology for the water and also for the energy. For the water, we just, for example, use the water efficient washing machine, which is able to save 100 liters per wash. The other technology we use it in this specific residence is just a high airpad shower head, which is able to reduce to the 50% of the shower water. Dual flush toilet, which is able to save a 5 liter of the water per flush. We installed the rainwater harvesting system, which we can use or reduce the 70% of the water for the irrigation of the gardening and the outside. And also a smart water meter, which is just a real-time water metering, and it's just improve the culture of the students, how they just do that one. So the students time to time, they just inform how much water they just use. Next one. Regarding the energy, we just use the passive design. That's a specific res. Is just go to the several iteration to be sure the passive design is just meet the optimum. By that one, we are able to save up to 35% of the energy. We use a lot of LED lighting. By using of the LED lighting, we are just able to save up to 90% energy from the artificial lighting. Head pump, solar PV, we just put a lot of solar PV. That specific res is almost covered the roof with the solar PV, and we are just able to produce up to 20% of the residence energy, and this is the highest amount of the energy we are able to just generate for the one specific building. And lastly, again, a smart electrical meter, which we are just able to inform the students about the consumption and improve the culture of the students, how they are just consuming the electricity during the winter, during the summer, day and night. And next one, please. The summary of the quantitative data, as you see here, by using and implementing this green method and the technology, we are just able to save 72% of the water from the regular or the recommended from the standard of the South Africa. And this specific case is able to just reduce 48% of the energy to just do that one. Majority of this reduce is just not only because of the technology, because of the improving the culture of the students and teaching them how to just do the sustainability. The other research, we just try to do that one. We just try to see how the students, they acting after learning and understanding and awareing of the sustainability in their house and in their business. If they just go and we just see they are just become a champion for the sustainability everywhere they just go. So that's really is just teaching or changing the culture, is not only reducing the water and energy. The last one, conclusion. So the green method and the technology has a significant positive impact on the sustainability of the support educational building and university, as we just showed the amount of the saving on the water and energy. Utilizing appropriate green method and the technology improve all the three pillars of the sustainability regarding the environment sustainability, reducing water and energy consumption, regarding economic sustainability, reducing the operational costs, regarding the social sustainability is just able to educating and involving the students in the saving resources and the boosting their sustainability awareness, which is just very important and is just a main aim of UCT to just do that one. And finally, there are still some barrier and challenges to stand away of the university in the reaching the sustainable at the highest level. As I just say, the high cost of that one, limited budget, and the mostly heritage building that we need to just come out with some sort of like a new solution how we can just do green building for the heritage building. Thank you very much.
Yes, I have mine.
So they're not complete.
Yes, thank you very much. You've been in a marathon today. I know that this is your fourth presentation, at least today, the ones that I know. I don't know how many you had in the morning. Thank you very much. So you can take your breath now. Do we have any questions? No, I'm looking at you. Just a short one or a comment, and then we have one more presenter, and then we can take more after.
I'll focusing on one very little part of it, and it was the use of the smart meters. And I guess the question is the time period over which that's been able to be sustained. My reason I'm asking is I'm in a building that had has had those things in it. It was built about 5 or 6 years ago, and a couple of years ago we stopped displaying the information. So, you know, it's the sustainability of those initiatives is, I guess, the question of that. What time frame are we looking at with the building?
So that regarding of the smart meter, we are just using two applications of the smart meter. The facility manager use time to time about the sustainability of this specific technology. They just do that one, and how they target to just reduce for the next period, months, years, or something like that. Yes, to just do, because we have some sort of like a plan. They need to reduce it, for example, every year 10% from the water. So that's a measurement. The other things is just the announcement or awareness of the students, how they just working. Usually when the new or the fresh students coming is just increasing, so they just show how to work that one, what is the level of the standard, we need to keep it, and how much we are higher. If it's below, we are just come with some sort of like incentive prices for the students. So it's just like a more education tool also. We are just use that one as a smart meter.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. You can continue the discussions later today for dinner. Okay, apologize. Yes, great presentation. And there is a question. There is any form of education program that can affect student or user behavior? I think you mentioned that you can.
Yeah, there is some sort of like a program. We have it in the UCT. So when the new students is coming, they just go to some sort of like a short training about what we did, what is the target, what we have to do it. So they're not coming in some sort of like a blind and doesn't know anything. And also we just try to develop some courses. For example, we have a Master of the Sustainability that even the students without degree or the first year, they can just come and attend that one and just listen to that one. We have a lot of guest lecture for each of the courses related to the sustainability. They come and just do that one, no matter what is the course is about. So we can just link it to the sustainability. And it's just a compulsory in a first year. All the lecturer, they just gave the principle of the sustainability to the students. What are the 3 pillars of the sustainability? What are the 17 SDG goals and something like that. So there is a lot of different program is just already running in the UCT.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you for the question from Morton. Now we go to our last presenter, Rodrigo da Silva from University of Lisboa, and he will tell us about his research and discussion of digital transition impact in facility management of buildings. So please share your screen and your presentation.
For sure. Let me see. I have some. Let me share.
Okay, now we see your presentation. You just have to put in presenter mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for attending my presentation. And it's about discussion of digital transition impact in facility management of buildings, and also had the collaboration of my supervisors, Professor Aguiar Costa and Professor Flores Collin. And my name is Rodrigo, and I'm PhD student from IST at Lisbon University. My presentation is based on 6 contents, including motivation, methodology and results, influence and challenges, discussion, future agenda, and lastly, acknowledgements. Let's start with motivation. Facility management spends time collecting and processing data from different sources, often not properly considered when making future decisions. Besides, the inaccessibility of historical data is one reason not to use the inefficiency and deficiency in a continuous improvement process on a large scale. Then, in the most of the time, resulting in non-organized and time-consuming tasks. So, how to overcome these challenges? The answer is not easy, but the improvement process already started with the CAD drawings in 2 dimensions, moved to the 3rd dimension. We start to put information on those drawings, and now we are moving to connect this virtual world to the real world. So the recent concern about an effective digital transition in facility management offer an excellent opportunity to improve facility information management in existing buildings through powerful tools for data analysis, machine learning, and simulation, such as interoperable BIM platform. Methodology and results. So to construct this paper, we use a timeline between 2012 2012 and 2021, and use Scopus and Web of Science databases and only consider English papers and full access papers. We select some keywords, and after this, we categorized all these papers. And it also interesting that the most articles analyzed were published between 2017 and 2021, demonstrating that the last 5 years have been particularly productive on this topic. So, what's the influence and challenges found? Within this scenario, multiple technologies would be involved, in the recent concern about an effective digital transition in operation and maintenance phase offers an excellent opportunity to improve this information. Some of these influence and challenges are very correlated to the operation and maintenance phase, such as building information modeling, Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence. So let's discuss a little bit. Traditionally, geometric information is produced in the design and construction phase. Nevertheless, the lack of non-geometrical information is one of the primary reasons for the delay in the development of intelligent management and the low level of efficiency in operation and maintenance. So, the information in operation and maintenance phase is distributed between many systems, such as CAFM, CMMS, building automation system, but some of these systems fail to encompass the diversity of all requirements, all necessary requirements in facility management. Moreover, BIM is one of these technologies that trigger a new vision of the industry paradigm. It allows supporting data and systemizing it in a structured way, potentiating a wider digitalization of process and promoting more intelligent approach to the operation and maintenance phase. However, interoperability is one of the main reasons behind common problems arising during life cycles such as information asymmetry and data fragmentation. However, for this purpose, open standards models improve this integration between BIM and facility management. And one example of this data format, open format, it's the Construction Operation Building Information Exchange, or COBE. And it's a international standard for exchanging information about managed facility assets, like as a model view definition defined by Building Smart, for example, not adding new requirements to the contract, but changing the format of existing deliverable from papers, documents, and properties arrangements. So the code is structured in 5 data drops, and each drops are correlated to a phase of the project. Another technology that is very correlated to the operation and maintenance phase, it's the IoT, and it's based on integration of various processes such as identifying, sensing, computation, and networking interconnection. Information and communication technology allows for the instantaneous collection, transmission, and exchange of information within other devices and systems over the internet. So the IoT is the way to connect the real world to the virtual world and can improve the efficiency of operation and maintenance activities and the processes. However, When the data repository being increased, more sophisticated analytical tools are required. These data science tools, including artificial intelligence-based models, minimize the risk and find new solutions to increasing precision in the decision-making process. So the key to schedule when interventions will be required depends on the ability to predict the future condition of the asset, and in most of the case, the interrelations between the many building components and the environment are overlooked. So I can use it to connect this data in a smart way where the capacity of human for processing this information it's often limited. So when the machine is exposed to more data, it scrutinizes the data to provide insights at the same time learning and reminding as it goes along. Okay, so what we expected in a future agenda. So the global technological trends point to a committed by players in operation and maintenance phase sectors to integrate digital technology, the adoption of new process, and a clear focus on the building life cycle. So transforming data into knowledge via ontological studies for decision support in automated process. It's a new trend. Increase the AI techniques and IoT tools for facilitating facility management activities and process, including monitoring and inspection, and integrating all these methodologies and technologies into a new digital twin, into a new deep digital twin. So these new technologies may allow virtual representation of physical infrastructure, which can be updated in almost real time as new data is collected, providing feedback into the physical twin in perform what if scenarios for assess risks, for example, and predicting asset performance. So lastly, this work was supported by my PhD grants under Lisbon University. So thank you very much. If you have any question, I'm able.
Thank you, Rodrigo, for being here with us online. No, it's early in Portugal, and thank you for the ones that are still in the room and online. So yeah, we are a bit late, but yeah, I think we had very good talks. Do we have any questions? No, I think at this point we don't have any. Yeah. Okay, it's one half form, but not get it out. But probably you can go back to Rodrigo, so you have his contact in the paper. You can
Yes.
also see the paper and have his contacts, and then we'll see how it goes. Good. Thank you very much
Thank
again
you very much,
to
Mara.
everybody to online, to here in the room. That was very nice to be with you for almost 3 hours here. And see you tomorrow. We still have one more day of the conference. Okay, bye.
Okay, thank you very much and have a good night too.